It's another week in the iRacing Verizon IndyCar series as we head to Phoenix International Raceway. It's a track set in the desert, ISM Raceway, and we're going to have so much fun here today. It's Friday Night Prime Time. It's RaceSpotTV. It's iRacing Live. Are you ready for it? Because we start next. Welcome to the desert. Welcome to Arizona and welcome to ISM Raceway, home of round number 4 of the iRacing Verizon IndyCar series here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live just a few days before the 2018 IR18's take battle at this racetrack. Wolverhampton along with Connery Maddock, 135 laps here today. That's 136.8 miles worth of racing. Qualifying is almost complete. And Connery, we were saying just before we came on air, this grid is stacked.
Yeah, absolutely stacked. There isn't a name on the entry list which I don't think is scary in IndyCar. This is how stacked this field is. Even though there are only 17 of them out there on the circuit, any one of these 17 could potentially win this event given the right circumstances. It's crazy.
And Christian Steele, one of the big names, of course, in the series, is not qualified. He'll be starting from the rear of the field. Shout out to Andy Warner and One Design, Simon Grossman, Actioneer.in, and Nick Dixon from RaceSpotTV. Live timing and scoring that will be available throughout the course of this event. So, let's get ourselves ready then for the starting grid as the drivers are now on their pace lap. Well, actually, they're just waiting behind the iRacing First safety car. Vic Cordell, qualifying speed of 191.45 miles an hour. That's 19.045. He's got the front row with Henry Bennett alongside him. Row number 2, that is Tim Holgate and Tim Doll. A battle of the Tims on row 2, Connery.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them 100% capable of taking home the race win. We've also got Austin Espetit, Liam Quinn, both again capable of taking away the race win at the end of this. You've also got John Downing, Zach Campbell bringing things down to P number 7 and 8. And George Newjocks and Richard Holt rounds things down to P10. Yeah,
P number 11. You got yourself Matteo Ugolotti and Michele Ricci, 2 Italians on row number 6 of the grid. Row 7, you got Michele Constantini, so 3 Italians in a row. Thomas Stern then in P number 14. 15th place, that will go to Stephen Wilson and Carlos Villa in P number 16. And then at the rear, the one driver not setting a qualifying time. That is Christian Steele. Live timing and scoring, of course, will be available during the course of this race. Just visit RaceSpotTV /timing. The track has changed over the years, but what we have got here today is a fantastic race. And Vic Cordell, I mean, he doesn't race that often anymore in the Verizon IndyCar series, but when he does, he's always one of those drivers that really can make a statement.
And he absolutely has made a statement already, getting that pole position despite being the number 17 car in the entire field, which is technically the lowest I-rated driver in the entire field. So done a very, very good job to get that car onto pole position. As you said, he hasn't raced much recently, but if this is a sign of him getting back into the swing of things, I think that'll mix things up further at the front of this IndyCar field.
Yeah, indeed. The drivers are about to roll off behind the iRacing first safety car. One pace lap here. One thing we've noticed, this race doesn't have a lot of green. And Connery, overtaking can be hard because they're using a high downforce setup on this oval.
Yes, they are. So completely the opposite to what we saw at Pocono just last week. These guys will want a huge amount of downforce on these cars to get them through these tight turns. And the last top split race that we had here at the start of the week, 8 cautions. Let's hope we don't get that today.
Pace car then working itself towards pit road. That'll put the field in the command of Vic Cordell. Week number 4 here in the iRacing Verizon IndyCar Series. Green flag in the air. Let's go racing at ISM Raceway. And we're yellow already. Trouble at the rear of the field. Richard Holt involved. Michelle Constantini involved as well.
Michele Ricci also involved in the number 6 as well, so we got caution almost immediately here, and it was, let's just have a look at things on the replay. Stephen Wilson gets a fantastic jump on the start, coming through turn number 1. Oh, Ricci just gets it loose, and then there was a secondary incident straight after, completely unrelated.
Yeah, we're looking at Constantini, who loses it by himself. Down in the number 11 Vortex Sim Racing machine. We'll have ourselves another look then at Ricci. The number 6 car coming up to the green flag. Let's go on board. The number 6. Cold tyres, lap number 1, oversteer. There you are, sorted, Connery.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't the only one. A couple of cars ahead did have the same issue. You had the issue ahead of Zach Campbell getting a bit loose, causing some avoiding action need to be taken. Completely separate instance with the oversteer from Stephen Wilson and Richard Holt going basically synchronized power sliding through the corner. That's what cold tires can do.
Oh, come on, there's a team name called that. Synchronized power slide through a corner whilst holding my Banshee Aero X something. I can't remember the official team name.
Something, Jesus take the wheel. There
yes. So Cordell leads then. Tim Holgate second. Henry Bennett in third. Austin Espartee in fourth. Tim Doyle rounds out your top 5. And, of course, we are on Steele watch right now. And Steele is up to P number 7 in that VRS car.
Yeah, he is, and well, actually he's on my screen. He's P number 12, Christian Steele. So he gained 5 positions. Still, that's a very good for the race start, especially when you start at the back of the field, P number 17. So Steele is definitely the one to keep an eye on, working his way all the way through this field, and I think he's definitely a driver that can get himself to the front in the not too distant future.
Yeah, strategy will be a big important part of that. So just have a look then. The lights go off on top of the iRacing first safety car. Hey, Connery, guess what?
What?
You can now have a RaceSpotTV logo on your iRacing car. All you need to do, visit the iRacing paint shop.
Yeah, exactly. And, well, if you do want those extra tenths of a second that we always tend to talk about, then it might be a very good idea to put one of those logos on your cars. The more the better, the more time you gain. Yeah,
and one thing you'll notice there, the cones on the racetrack. This isn't like NASCAR. You can't literally run it straight down the middle of that dog leg. You have got to stay on the outside of those cones. Otherwise, you will get yourself a penalty. So for those of you watching, there is slightly different rules here in the iRacing Verizon IndyCar Series compared to what you see in terms of the Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing. Onto pit road, that pace car will go again. Lola's gone to the toilet, but we're ready to go. Green flag racing one more time, and that green flag is out, and the guys are ready. Get busy and go back to work in towards turn number 1. Bet it down to the inside of Austin SPT.
Yeah, SP actually gets through on Henry Bennett there. Henry Bennett has to go the long way around at turn 1 and 2. Tim Doyle looking threatening now for P number 3. So they hit their way through 3 and 4, so we will get a lap of green flag racing in the books here, coming on to lap number 6 of this event. And, well, those front two have already broken away a couple of tenths of a second. Vic Cordell, Tim Holgate, they're just trying to show what the field what they can do.
It's always there when you need it. RaceSpotTV, live timing and scoring. Check it out now. RaceSpot.tv/timing, and keep up to date with your favorite driver every race long here on RaceSpotTV, as John Downing has been in a battle with Zach Campbell for P number 8. Gorg Newjock's right behind in P number 9. Working ourselves now on lap number 7 of 135. Behind Thomas Stern, Christian Steele now into your top 10.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant effort for him, but still, yet more overtakes required to get him towards the front of the field. We did say that he is definitely one to watch, as Newjock's still trying to challenge. Actually, there's a car slow on the outside there. That's Michele Ricci with that damaged car from earlier on in that first caution. I don't think that car is in the state to be out there.
No, it's not, as we're on board then with Ricci. You can see already 2 laps down from race leader. Hope he stays out on track after hitting the wall a second time here today. But it's that moment that you just say, bring that car towards pit road. There's not much you can do at this point.
Steele is slow as well, coming through the dog leg, gets overtaken by, 4 cars there, coming down in towards turn number 3, and let's just see exactly what happened here. Oh, he got loose coming into turn number 1 and basically pancaked the side of that car into the safer barrier. Yeah,
as he's down to the inside of Stephen Wilson. Wilson holds on, replay Christian Steele. This is into turn 1 last time, bro. And that is a curse of the apron there. He did avoid the safer barrier, but he lost a lot of time. And, well, it's a bit like Iowa Speedway here. You do not touch the apron under any circumstances through 1 and 2.
Yeah, it really does kill you, no matter if you're in an IndyCar or actually in a stock car as well. You just touch that apron and you're not going to have a fun time at all. So Steele put back down to P number 14, already gets himself into P number 13, and number 12 is all there, all for the taking. But that was very close there with the car of Thomas Sturm. Steele will head his way down towards the inside through the dogleg, potentially 3 wide here if Via decides to go for it. But no, 2 wide, they'll go into turn 3. And wow, Christian Steele gains all those positions in 1 lap.
Meanwhile, out front, Vic Cordell has a 4/10 of a second lead over Tim Holgate as we work ourselves on lap number 13. So 10% now of this race score complete, and it's Cordell versus Tim Holgate. I mean, again, Cordell, when he gets it right, he gets it so right. But he's got a former iRacing Indy 500 champion, a former 16 Streets Racing League champion right behind him. Holgate is no slouch.
Absolutely no slouch, and Cordell, he went a 10th of a second faster on that last lap. Will it be another 10th of a second this lap? He's still running in those 19.6s, Holgate running in those 19.7s. Of course, Holgate is dealing with a little bit of dirty air running behind Cordell there, so that's not entirely representative, but to still be able to be pulling the gap, 15 laps into this stint, that's a great effort from Vic.
Yeah, Gorg Newjock versus Zach Campbell. That one's going on for P number 8 on track. Riding a lap then on board with Newjocks in the number 1 machine. Well, there you can see then, it was a 19.9 last time for Gorg Newjocks. This is what we talked about. Overtaking can be difficult once you get into that dirty air. Although Zach Campbell now going alongside John Downing. That's the battle going on for P number 7. Downing now up into P number 7. He's had that battle going on with Zach Campbell pretty much all race long. And the cool number 10 car, don't smoke kids, it's bad for you. Again, looking to the high side for the dog leg over that beautiful number 13 machine.
Absolutely beautiful, but Downing running these defensive lines will push up in the middle of the corner, though. Zach Campbell has to check up a little bit. This will give the opportunity to Nujox now, down towards the inside on at least one here. Zach Campbell on the outside will drift up the track, though. Will Nujox will stop that momentum coming up the track, side by side through the dogleg now, and I think Nujox is still going to keep his nose in there for turn number 3 and turn number 4 as well, and this is just allowing that car of John Downing to get away slightly.
Yeah, and that's the thing you often see at this racetrack. Once people go side by side, it will allow the driver ahead to really put away, because you lose almost a second a lap if you're running side by side the entire way around, if you don't know how to do it. This isn't like an auto club or Michigan. This is just over a 1 mile oval here at Phoenix, and what that essentially means is that you cannot run the entire thing side by side. Just having a look at that continued battle ahead as well, by the way. We've got ourselves Liam Quinn and Henry Bennett still fighting for position for P number 6. Although it does look as though that Quinn is losing time right now to Henry Bennett. Actually, and I take that back, Quinn's actually gaining time, although he did lose time that last time by. He was 66 1,000ths of a second slower than the number 2 car.
Yeah, and the closer and closer he gets to the back of that car of Henry Bennett, the more that is going to come into effect. So the harder it becomes to even draw your car alongside another driver. So that's the issue that he has to be dealing with, and many other drivers are dealing with right now as we head on to lap number 23 of this event. We've still got that leading pair of Vic Cordell, Tim Holgate to be concerned about right now. The 0.3 of a second separate them, and that's just been fluctuating up and down over the past couple of laps, and it seems to be the status quo is maintained there, but everyone else starting to settle down a little bit.
Yeah, they are. Zach Campbell, John Downing, we've been talking about that one, of course, going off of P number 7 on track. Downing does actually lose a bit of time as they come through the dogleg in towards turn number 3. Again, Campbell on the outside, going to try and run that ultra high line, can't do so, and actually almost ends up hitting the safer barrier, as after that first caution we have been green here all the way at ISM Raceway, the 4th round of the iRacing Verizon IndyCar series. And of course you can catch all the action from the real life Verizon IndyCar series this weekend on the NBC network of stations, as Campbell outside got the job done, complete in towards 1.
Yeah, and he might lose yet another position here because Nujox has the run coming through 1 and 2, but not able to complete the move coming into the dogleg, and take a slightly higher line through 3 and 4, trying to get that momentum off the corner. He does get a good run, will be able to make it side by side down in towards turn number 1, and the outside here is definitely where you do not want to be. You lose so much momentum. Nujox just half a car length ahead, full car length ahead, pass is complete.
Yep, so Nujox now up into P number 8, so a bad sequence of laps then for John Downing. Tyre wear will be a big factor in this race as well, and the drivers are more likely to come on towards pit road for tyres before that fuel expires.
It could well be, although we've got the situation. It's a very cold track temperature because we're in the depths of night here at ISM Raceway, so may not be as big of an issue as, say, it was at the Pocono Raceway we were at last week, because that was during the day quite a high track temperature, so tyres not as important perhaps here as it was there at the Tricky Triangle, but we're looking at about getting towards 70 laps, I think, on a full stint here, so you could just make this entire race on one stop.
Yeah, on board with #NoseCam. As we look at Tim Holgate, he is starting to close in on Vic Cordell and that number 17 machine. So Holgate starting to tighten those screws as we now enter lap number 30. And again, another 1/10 of a second taken out there by Holgate. A much better run through turn number 1 and 2. Onto the dogleg they come. And as they come in towards turn number 3 and 4, here comes Holgate down to the inside for the race lead. And Tim Holgate can't quite do it yet. But that is a warning message.
Yeah, and a warning shot fired by Holgate there as he goes so quickly through turns 1 and 2. Fantastic run for Holgate. We'll try to make it side by side into turn number 3 once again. Ultra high line taken. I think Cordell's tires are completely going right now because that's Holgate to the race lead.
Yep, so that is the Tim Holgate we know so well. Vic Cordell into second place. And actually, one driver we haven't yet talked about today is Austin Espartee. He's running in 3rd, and he's keeping it with your race leaders, because right now he is only 1.1 second behind your race leader, who is Tim Holgate. And now we've got to see, can Holgate pull away and can SPT get him to second?
Yeah, this is the point where I'll see, is it tyre wear issue for Vic Cordell, or is it just a horrible couple of laps? We will just have to see. There is a lapped car involved in this one now. That's the number 12 of Thomas Sturm, which isn't really helping Vic Cordell at this stage, giving him a huge amount of dirty air to be able to have to deal with, and that's just going to allow Austin SPT to just get that time gains coming over the next couple of laps. And well, the longer this lap car stays in front of Vic Cordell, the more difficult it will be for Vic.
Lap traffic has always been a difficult part of racing here at Phoenix, and ever since, I mean, even with the repave and the redesign, it's always been a difficult thing, and that's been one of the quote-unquote criticisms of this car at this track, and the downforce level is concerned. But what we have seen in this RR18, of course, very slippy tyres at the start of a run makes overtaking more possible. But now it's a bit like running a NASCAR race at Bristol, because you are almost flat out. As here comes SPT, going to get himself, he's not going to get himself then past the lap traffic. In fact, Cordell can't get himself past the lap traffic of Thomas Stern. They will stay side by side again in towards 3 and 4. SPT then, he did a good job there. He was able to sweep through when he needed to, and actually he gets a much better run over Cordell through turn number 3 and 4, but just wasn't quite close enough.
Yeah, but look at the gap to the leader, 2.56 seconds in what, 4 laps that Tim Holgate has managed to pull out? That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and look at the lap times. Half a second, 3/4 of a second then. Tim Holgate, OHIO, leading this race right now, the way that we know Tim Holgate can do. As behind, we've got Christian Steele. He's recovering. He's up into P number 11, but he's got Michele Constantini just ahead of him, and that's to get back inside the top 10.
Yep, it is, and well, he's already been inside the top 10 once this race. Can he do it again? Lap number 39 instead of inside the first 10 laps this time. But Christian Steele, he's just that car does seem to have quite a bit of pace to it. It's just the topic of overtaking here and it being difficult is basically what is putting his race on the back foot right now, starting right at the very back of the field, P number 17. And right now, he's not exactly catching those 2 cars ahead either, so maybe he's suffering from a little bit the same tyre wear issues that Vic Cordell is suffering from. And the rest of these drivers, they seem to be rather okay with it.
I mean, he still is officially your biggest mover in your field here today. Of course, he's up 6 places because he started from the rear. People who are also up, Michele Constantini is up 3 places. Stephen Wilson, Carlos Villia up 3 places. Inside your top 10, biggest movers, Tim Holgate and Austin SPT. Holgate from 3rd to 1st. SPT from 5th to 3rd right now. One driver who's been really quiet, and when this driver is quiet, you've always got to start worrying, is Tim Doyle. He has done nothing really of note in this event. He has got the RaceSpotTV logos on his car, which now makes him officially at least 2 tenths of a second faster. But Tim Doyle, this is a Tim Doyle that scares me, because I know that he's got something in his head right now.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of the more calm and calculated drivers out there on the IndyCar racing circuit, and well, he's going to come alive in the lap part of this race. Let me just tell you that he's going to be trying to get himself up inside that top 3, trying to go for the race win. It's just he hasn't shown his hand yet. And I just want to go back to the discussion with Christian Steele. I didn't notice that. Well, at least on my screen for a moment, he had half a front wing, but that seems to have rectified itself. But there's still maybe some damage to that car that you know, is just with Steele, you gotta be hoping for a caution to perhaps get that a little bit repaired.
Well, I think there's a lot of drivers right now hoping for a caution, because we were looking before this race broadcast at the previous races this week, and for those of you who are new to iRacing, this is just one of many races that are broadcast, so many races that take place in the iRacing Verizon IndyCar series. There are races every couple of hours, week long. But this is one of the bigger races, and what we've seen from the race on Monday night, what is traditionally known as the SOF race, that had 8 cautions, Connery. And, well, we were expecting a similar thing here today, but we're now almost 1/3 distance, and we are doing good, knocking on wood.
Yeah, we are doing good. There's exactly. We hope we don't jinx that one. There's 47 laps, coming out 48 laps complete right now, and It's only that one caution, like almost 2 corners into this race that we've had. The rest of it has been green flag racing. But the battle for P number 2 right now is still, well, it's spread itself out a little bit right now. Vic Cordell has managed to get some form of pace back into that car, and it's actually running 0.3 of a second faster than Holgate on that last lap, but Holgate has a bit of traffic to deal with.
Yeah, and that traffic again is going to be a big situation all race long. Let's have a look then at the lap gaps between them as they come past the start-finish line. Well, you're right, completely right. Cordell has gained himself over the last 3 laps 0.6 of a second, so he's staying in it right now. And also, Esparti has not been able to find a way past Vic Cordell. And I'm starting to think, actually, that Cordell has got it kind of lined up a little bit all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. Just about 10-15 laps ago, that car was really struggling through the corners, and I think he's just found some form of weight tracker and anti-rollback configuration that's really starting to work for him right now, because those are the things that you can change while still behind the wheel, still out there on circuit in these Indy cars, and it can really help you just get the balance of the car sorted if it's misbehaving.
Yeah, Michele Constantini looks as though he's lost position. Christian Steele up into P number 9, Constantini into P10, and Tim Doyle is on pit road.
That is an interesting strategy, shall we say. He's currently actually the 3rd driver to head their way down on towards the lane, but the thing is that the only driver that has headed down towards the lane in the last 50 laps. So he is the first of the scheduled stops here. And can he make it to the end on 82 laps?
Cordell's in as well.
I'm not sure. He is, and well, they must be able to then if they're coming all down. Now Tim Holgate is also in as well, so we'll see what everyone else does here, how much longer they stay out, and that'll give us a better idea of if they can make it.
This is everyone worried about the undercut right now, because one driver comes in, a driver like Tim Doyle, he almost puts the undercut on and yellow.
Ooh.
Well, this is
Number
great
15.
for those who are on pit road right now. It's horrible for those who aren't.
Ooh. There's another further incident as well that just got collected in it. That's Thomas Sturm actually getting involved in the aftermath. The original 2 cars were Carlos Villa and Stephen Wilson there. And is this miscommunication coming on towards the lane? It is. Stephen Wilson broke for pit lane entry. Villa wasn't going to coming down towards the lane and just run straight into the back of him. And Thomas Sturm behind just completely just collected in that one as well.
Yeah. Oh, my word. That was a big one at the end. Yeah. Was that Tim Doyle involved in that?
It looked a rather purple car that also got involved. Yes, it was Tim Doyle. Heavy incident.
Oh my word, he's out. Well, that's not good. Tim Doyle is on pit road. Pit road is open. We've got cars coming on pit road as we speak. But wow, that's a game changer here now at ISM Raceway as drivers are coming on to pit road. And well, Connery, this is really shaking things up.
Yeah, exactly. A caution in the middle of a pit stop cycle and that huge incident taking out Tim Doyle. That really does change things. And let's just see what happens here where everyone comes out after the pit stops. There's Austin Esparti getting himself off of the lane and then will in fact inherit the race lead here for Austin Esparti.
Yeah, so we're going to take a quick break here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. There's your race off pit road. Esparti has the lead. 56 of 135 scored complete. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are about ready to go green flag racing once again here at ISM Raceway. Austin SPT is your race leader. Live timing and scoring is available all race long here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. As the pace car is going to work itself down towards pit road once again. Don't forget, the Desert Diamond West Valley Casino Phoenix Grand Prix is live on the NBC Sports Network April 8th at 1:30 a.m. That's not right. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the NBC Sports Network. We are back to green. SPT, fantastic restart over Liam Quinn.
Yeah, exactly what he needed, but the focus should really be on the back of the field right now because Vic Cordell, Tim Holgate, those are the two drivers that have to work their way all the way through this field right now. As Cordell potentially getting one here, that's Zach Campbell down towards the inside. They're very slow, and he's trying to work on the next driver in line now. That's Matteo Ugolotti that is getting in the way of Cordell and Steele as it stands right now.
I like how you say getting in the way of. Now we've got a fantastic run. We've got Holgate, we've got Cordell, we've got Steele, all on the same piece of racetrack. And there's Holgate trying to work himself through John Downing. Downing's having absolutely none of it, but now goes high on the exit of turn number 2. Down to the inside will go Tim Holgate. Holgate, number 9 machine, up into 6th.
Yeah, up into 6th indeed, and he's already gotten a considerable gap over Cordell, which is the driver he was battling with for the race lead earlier on. So who's gonna, the winner of this one might be decided on who gets through this this train of traffic, the entire field. Most easily here is Holgate trying to go for that ultra high line coming through 3 and 4, but it really is working for him. Look how much momentum he's able to sustain up there. Gets past George Newjocks. Now looking at Michele Constantini. Holgate just making mincemeat of this field.
And this is what makes Tim Doyle a former iRacing Indy 500 champion and a former, and he's going to do it again. Inside line, job complete, nicely done. Tim Holgate into 4th. But this is what makes him also a 16th Street Racing League champion and Indy Elite Series champion. Basically, he has accomplished everything there is to do except for one thing, Conor, and it's what a lot of drivers are thinking about heading into the month of May, and that is no driver has ever won the iRacing Indy 500 twice.
Yeah, exactly. We discussed it at the previous race at the Tricky Triangle, and it's one of those long-standing records that hasn't been broken in the entirety of iRacing history. No driver has ever won it twice, but is this year the year? Well,
Martin Kroenke and Gregor Houtu have themselves tied for the most wins in the World Championship Series in a row now. So maybe this is your year that records may be broken or matched. Maybe we might get another driver joining one of the most illustrious lists in all of iRacing history. And of course, that will be here live on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live, the iRacing Indianapolis 500, the 9th annual iRacing Indianapolis 500. As we go back on board of Vic Cordell. Now, Tim Holgate made mincemeat of John Downing when he came past him. Cordell has not got the ability to do the same. And this comes down, in my opinion, to the way that Tim Holgate uses those in-car tools. The anti-roll bar, both front and rear, and the rate jacker. Cordell does get a good run out of turn number 3 and 4. In towards 1. Cordell's got it. Or has he?
Or not. Yeah, that car's not really working well on that extreme inside line of turn 1 and 2. Won't get the pass over John Downing. So now Vic Cordell, he's in a bit of a spot of bother here, just sandwiched between Steele and Downing here. And this is just allowing Holgate to get himself away up to 3.6 seconds between Vic Cordell and Holgate. So that's P number 8 and P number 4 right now. And this is just what we saw earlier. Down towards the inside he goes as wow. John Downing got very, very loose there, coming through 3 and 4. Cordell manages to get himself through, but Downing loses 4 positions.
Scoopsy potatoes indeed there for him. Replay on board John Downing. So he was okay through the dog leg. Turns, the back end stepped out on him big time there. Into 3 and 4. He did a good job of saving it, but 1, 2, 3. 4 places lost there for John Downing.
Yeah, exactly. And wow, that's maybe just an effect of a car following too close behind there, just getting a little bit loose. But yeah, that's Cordell finally through up into P number 7. But he still has a lot of work to do here. He's got a little bit of clear air to run in at the moment before he gets up to the likes of the cars of Nujox and Constantini here. So a little bit of time to start to focus on what lies next in this race. But I've got to say, Constantini up 8 positions up into P number 5 right now. That's a great effort for the Vortex driver.
The Espati team, though, is 1 and 2 right now. Let's go on board with Austin Espati. I mean, he's been fantastic since this restart. 1.7 seconds is now the gap between himself and his teammate Liam Quinn. And Espati is one of these drivers that people know. Tim Doyle, Young O, Tim Holgate, John Paquin, Ryan Norton. The list will go on. Espati is one of those names that not everyone knows as well, but my God, when he's fast, he's fast.
And he's just showing it right now, just leading this race at ISM Raceway, running lap times in the region of the 19.9 that last time by, which isn't the fastest out there, but it's definitely one of the couple of fastest out there. And that might be to do to the fact that he's running in a very, very large amount of clear air, but that just takes no credit away from how fast he really is on his day.
Former Indy 500 champion as well. Liam Quinn in second place as we just cycle through over to him. Just having a look at the lap times then between Espati and Liam Quinn. And, well, Quinn has lost out 2 of the last 3 laps. He's lost a net of 1.5 tenths of a second.
Yep, he has, and we'll just see if that remains the case the way across the line. That's 19.8 for Espati, also a 19.8 from Liam Quinn, and only a couple of thousandths of a second separate them, as actually that updates the other way across the line. That's Liam Quinn a 20 flat there compared to Espati's 19.8, so more tenths of a second being pulled out here for Espati. He's just managing that gap at the front, just trying to extend it a little bit here and there, but it's obvious who is the fastest driver at this stage. Yeah,
Tim Holgate, though, has gained up a lot of time in that number 9 car. He is now right behind Liam Quinn, and he's looking for vengeance, because let's not forget, he was a driver on a mission at the start of this race, lost out due to strategy, and that's also one of the things we talk about, Connor, is that drivers in IndyCar oval racing, you've got to play the strategy. And those drivers came in at the start of a pit window. If they waited, Tim Holgate could be leading by 5 seconds right now, but instead he stuck behind Liam Quinn, and he lost time there in the dirty air that last time by.
Yeah, a 20.1 compared to Espati, or race leader's 19.8. That is a huge amount to be down, especially when you've only got 20-second lap times here at ISM. So, and Holgate's going to fall back yet again here in the day, for 3 and 4. So that is not going to be exactly what you wanted. But the thing is, Zach Campbell down on towards the lane with 23 laps on his stint here. So is he going to go for the ultra short strategy? Can they actually make it from that last portion?
Holgate's
obviously not.
So they're counting back, and, well, welcome to the month of May, just a lot early, because this is my favourite phrase, the count back. Get to the point where you know you can do your final stop and get to the end of the motor race, pit as early as you can, and let strategy play around you, Connery. It's a risky strategy, but one that if it works, it's perfect. Count back from the end of the race, and anyone who's thinking about doing the iRacing Indy 500 must remember the count back.
Yeah, it's definitely an incredibly powerful strategy, especially in these Indy cars, and that's what Holgate has gone for. That's what Zach Campbell has gone for. Although Zach Campbell's been on the lane quite a while, 44 seconds, so maybe a little bit of damage to be-repaired there, or more than a little bit. Holgate was very slow getting into his box there, but will finally get himself down into there. That engine doesn't seem to be running.
He's very slow on towards pit road, actually, yeah. I think he might have run out of fuel. Just having a look at the time. I mean, he's been on pit road for 52 seconds now. 57, 58 seconds. And, well, something big has happened to Tim Holgate. I think he didn't fuel that car, because this would have been around the time that car would have expired in terms of fuel, had we have basically not allowed the drivers to pit for fuel at all this race.
Oh, it might have been an engine issue. Oh, the engine blew. Exit the dogleg.
Oh, no. Replay then. We're going to try and get it for you here. Tim Holgate, let's try and see if we can do it. Okay, let's go back further. Let's listen on board then with Tim Holgate. Not this lap, but next lap. So he was running well, but you don't often get engine expiries in an IndyCar. So maybe he shifted down.
Could be. We get the luxury of actually seeing his gears.
Yeah, it wasn't on a downshift though. He just worked himself on the exit of the dog leg, and that's when it happened.
I mean, well, it could be an issue of coming back onto the racing surface, maybe banging that car on the bottom of the ground. I'm not entirely sure how to explain that one. Maybe he was... yeah, I just can't explain that one.
Wow, that is a huge shame then for the driver of Tim Holgate. Yes, of course, the iRacing Indy 500 is live here, exclusive on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. Hello to everyone watching on YouTube Gaming here this afternoon. Gordon Nudrox, by the way, versus Vic Cordell versus Michele Constantini. P4, 5, and 6 on track right now. And, well, Constantini, he's doing a good run in that 4th place. He's got his teammate right behind him, Gordon Nudrox. And then Vic Cordell is hunting both of them in P number 6.
Yeah, exactly, but your pole position sitter, his race pace doesn't seem to be as strong as his qualifying pace here. P number 6 right now, where he, well, was leading the race at the start of things here, but as that race pace started to not show for Cordell, then the likes of Holgate managed to catch right up to the back of him and then pass him on that first stint. But let's just see what he's able to do here with those two Vortex Sim Racing cars ahead of him. Okay, these guys are both teammates, so they could potentially just give each other a little bit of help here when it comes to Vic Cordell right on their tails.
Yes, or they could switch positions, is what I think Gordon Nudrox would want to do right now on Michele Constantini, because it looks as though that Nudrox has got a clearly faster car right now. They both came on towards pit road during that caution, and Nudrox down to... No, he will stay in line behind Michele Constantini for the time being. Cordell will stay in line as well in P number 6. I think the risk is, as here comes then, down to the inside, Vic Cordell, DHL car, as it will be a battle again. Again, it is Vic Cordell not being able to run that inside line.
Yeah, it just seems like he has a complete lack of downforce, lack of wing angle on that car. He gets a good run on the outside, so that's the way he can make the passes here at ISM. It's just that inside line just really isn't working for him right now, and I'm not sure if that's something he can solve in car.
Well, I think it's even worse than that. That car is fantastic through turn number 3 and 4. Just cannot sort out turn number 1 and 2. And now, actually, he's got himself the driver of Christian Steele right behind him. Gap is 0.2 of a second. Actually, Steele is now closer to Cordell than Cordell is to Nudrox. So that's one thing to pay attention to. But it seems to me that Cordell's car is set up for the turns number 3 and 4, but not for turns number 1 and 2, as Christian Steele now gets a fantastic run as they work themselves in to 1 again. And wow! Christian Steele almost lost that on turn in.
Oh, that was a very scary moment there from the driver of the number 7. Just, yeah, entry oversteer. Wow, that was very close there. Coming right down from the safe, well, from the concrete wall, in fact, it is there on the entry to turn number 1. Just the car just didn't really want to nose in. Luckily, he managed to save it, but Cordell now right back on the back of these Vortex drivers.
Yeah, and I will say one thing. Old Phoenix was one of the most toughest tracks I've ever driven, because actually the safety barrier juts out on the run in towards turn 1 and 2. We're on board once again right now, and you notice the fact that the reconfigured Phoenix, actually the safety barrier moves out before you go in towards turn number 1. As we're on board of Cordell, down in towards 3 and 4 once again. Still nothing he can do then, trying that ultra high line. Cordell is one of these drivers that I think will come in towards pit road early here, because he is going to basically play the undercut game, and I think with one lap he might be able to get the undercut on at least one of these 2 Vortex Sim Racing drivers. But this is where the strategy comes back into play one more time.
Yeah, could well do. As well, we're over the well over the halfway mark from when that last caution came out. So there's no one going to be splitting it half and half here, at least right now. So at least all these drivers may be thinking about, maybe we can actually go to the end on this fuel thing. As Cordell so close to the back of Nujox, there was contact there. Somehow they managed to keep it together, but wow, that was very close.
We've got a car on the wall. It's Christian Steele, yellow. Maybe not. No, actually, take that back. He's on pit road. Sorry, timing of scoring there showed a blip, but it's Christian Steele on pit road, and I'm happy he's on pit road and not under the wall.
Yeah, exactly. So is this the first pitter for your final stops? Then he just goes up and down on the jacks, or at least hopefully back down on the jacks there. Waits for the rest of that fuel to go in. And is this damage also being repaired here for Steele? I think it is.
Yeah, it's a penalty there for him. And he did look as though he was hot coming on, which is why I saw the blip there, Connery. Because of the fact I saw this, it spiked down to 0. He tried to get it down in time for the first timing being, couldn't do so. 21.9 seconds by Steele. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Yeah, and just looking at his pit entry, yeah, he had a huge issue trying to get it down to the pit lane speed limit of about, I'm going to give it in kilometers because I have it set into the European things. It's 71 kilometers an hour, however much that is in miles per hour. I kind of need to change that, but yeah. Penalty for Steele. His day just goes from bad to worse. Starts at the back of the field, has trouble getting himself through the field, and now he's gotten that penalty when he decided to come in down towards the lane for the final time.
45 miles an hour is the official pit road speed. And it's Austin Espartee then through turn number 1. It's got lap traffic that's forcing Espartee to push up high a little bit. And here's the thing, Liam Quinn is running in second place right now. Quinn has gained 2 of the last 3 laps, not by much, but enough. I think that's Sean Downing then ahead of him, as also Vic Cordell on pit road.
I think this is a good call from Vic Cordell. We saw how much he was struggling with being in the traffic, being in the dirty air, also having a car that's not exactly running, not exactly a very high downforce that the rest of these cars are running. So it's a good decision to come down towards the lane and get those fresh tires on that car. He's also joined by Nujox and Constantini as well. So those drivers deciding to head down a little bit earlier than the rest of your fields, and Espartee, Quinn, Bennett, Uglotti, they all stay out.
Yeah, Vic Cordell out and away. 7.3 seconds then for him. Michele Constantini is on the lane as we speak. We want to turn that 360 cam around and let's see where Vic Cordell will be. It's a bright yellow car we're looking for. Both of the Vortex Sim Racing cars responding to Vic Cordell. They are ahead at the moment, but of course, you've got to wait until you get back on track and a spin there. That is Gorg Nujox spinning on the exit of pit road.
Yeah, and the yellow won't come out because that is off of the racing surface. So Nujox struggling with getting the power down on the pit exit there. And, well, we have seen that before, both in the IndyCars and, of course, in the stock cars as well. So that is not an unusual thing to happen at all on the colder tires. But, yeah, that's just like you got your pit service done. You want to get back on the throttle, and all of a sudden the car turns around on you. So
yeah, I've been there. I've done that. It's almost like you're trying to do donuts then over the Lucas Oil sign, but Gorg Nujox loses out. Vic Cordell, by the way, is behind Michele Constantini, and the gap is 2.1 seconds. It wasn't a good pit stop there by Vic Cordell at all, as you are right. Austin Espartee from the race lead is on pit road, and let's go on board of him then, as Espartee will complete his service. Number 3 New England car coming out and away, and Austin Espartee then 7.1 seconds as Henry Bennett responds immediately.
Yeah, exactly. So the only drivers not to pit so far, John Downing and your now race leader, Liam Quinn. And Quinn goes out yet another lap as well. So does he decide to come on down towards the lane this time or not? We'll see by the angle of his car whether he does decide to come down towards the lane. Gets that car slowed down. Yes, he is. So now your race leader's in.
Yep, so Henry Bennett then doing his service out and away, 6.6 seconds. And he comes back out onto track. And Liam Quinn is now onto lane as well. You can see him. Now, realistically, Espartee should come out with the race lead at about, I would say, 4 seconds and change as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not expecting Liam Quinn to maintain the race lead here after Austin Espartee makes his way by, and Quinn gets himself stopped in his box. Coming down across the start-finish line right now is that number 3 machine of Espartee, and Quinn still on the lane, so that race lead will be re-inherited by Austin.
Yep, and back onto track then for Liam Quinn. Espartee currently in 3rd place. You know what? I was right. Almost 4 seconds. 5 seconds actually for Liam Quinn between himself and Austin Espartee. So 5.5 seconds. Espartee is absolutely stonking it right now. But Matteo Ugolotti and John Downing, are they going to try and go to the end, do you think? They're going to be close on fuel. Very close on fuel.
It's going to be very, very close, and with the tire wear the way it is, they're currently running about almost a second slower lap than the laps they set on fresher tires. So it's going to be a huge risk, and I'm not sure if they even can make it to the end of this stage. It's a big gamble.
The strategy is quite simply run another 10 laps and then hope that the restart after a caution involves another caution.
Yeah, exactly. That is the strategy play that these drivers probably are hoping for at this stage. But the thing is, the field is quite spread out right now, except for the number 11 and number 17 of Constantini and Cordell. So potentially this is one of the only places where a caution can come from, unless another driver has a self-spin. So when the field is all bunched up, yeah, that's a more reasonable strategy. But when they're spread out like this, it perhaps isn't the call to make.
Yep, as we said, the Verizon IndyCar Series heads itself to ISM Raceway. Catch it on the NBC Sports Network this weekend. If you live in the United Kingdom, of course, you can catch it on BT Sport, ESPN Player across most of Europe. And check your local stations in both Asia and in Africa and Australasia. I will say, though, that the 2018, the first race of the season at the Grand Prix in St. Petersburg, really did get rave reviews. But now, this is the real test of the R18 coming to Phoenix, because previous races, let's be honest, Connery, have been almost mind-numbingly boring as John Downing's on towards pit road.
Yeah, he is, and well, I completely agree with you there. So let's just hope that this new car design, at least on the real life side of things, can bring some exciting action to ISM. Whether or not it actually will or not, we don't know. Maybe we can use this as a good baseline, because iRacing got the car, before they actually raced it in real life. So. With them being able to follow as closely as they are able to, at least on the iRacing service, maybe they'll be able to follow closely and create more overtaking opportunities on the ovals on the real life side of things. Yeah.
And of course, we are on the road to the iRacing Indianapolis 500, the road to the 102nd edition now of the Indianapolis 500, the last one ever to be on ABC. Well, I say ever, for now, at least on ABC's network. Matteo Ugolotti, by the way, coming out of pit road, his 3rd pit stop here today, back on track in P number 7. That means that Austin Espartee once again has the race lead.
Yeah, exactly. So those drivers deciding, nope, they can't make it till the end, just running that fuel tank dry instead. And now they have about 12 laps to work with on the fresher tires and everyone else out there on circuit to try and hunt down the rest of the positions that they need to gain for that points haul in this length of field race. Ugolotti on the back of Christian Steele right now. This is for P number 7 for Ugolotti and Steele. And Ugolotti, with the fresher tires, I think is definitely going to come out on top of this one.
Well, you say that. Of course, Christian Steele has lost a lot of time because of that penalty. Ugolotti down to the inside. Pass complete. Easy. Turn number 3. Turn number 4. Steele down towards P number 8. Ugolotti up now into P number 7. Cordell versus Henry Bennett. That's been going on. Or our timing screens are saying it's been going on. It's not actually been going on. There's about a second between them, half a second. Cordell currently running himself in P number 4. Henry Bennett in P number 5. By the way, the road to the Indianapolis 500, of course, as we say, goes through Phoenix this week. And then April 15th, it's the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, the Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama, the IndyCar Grand Prix, and then the 102nd running of the Indianapolis 500, May 22nd, and that will be at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on ABC. All of those tracks are on iRacing, and yes, Long Beach is a test track, as we call it, a tech track, as we call it, Connery. But you can still run it. And I will say one thing about Long Beach. It is so hard to get around that final corner.
Yeah, it is just incredibly difficult. I haven't tried it in these IR18s, but yeah, in the other IndyCars, it is such a fiendishly difficult corner, and we'll see, if it takes any prisoners or not in the race in real life. But back to this one, though, we've still got Constantini, Cordell, and Bennett all separated by a good couple of tenths of a second. But the thing is, well, a good couple of tenths of a second on this lap is actually quite a margin.
Yeah, and you know who's coming up to lap them? Your race leader.
Austin Espartee says hi to your bits of lap traffic, as he's running 19.7s right now compared to the 20 flats that these guys are running. So I think he'll, he'd like to make short work of these guys, but you never know with the traffic at ISM. It could just really, really ruin his race, like it did Cordell's. He was very close to the wall there, coming off of 4. Can't be affording to do that too much, as Liam Quinn currently 7.2 seconds behind Espartee, but that can very, very quickly come down if he gets a bad run of things through the traffic. Yeah,
but not for 4 laps to go, and not with the fact that Espartee has really gotten off the noisy pedal now. He's got Henry Bennett, who's close behind. Henry Bennett, by the way, is in P number 5. And I've got a feeling that now Espartee's going to say, you know what, you finish your race, there's 3 laps to go. As Espartee, well, he now is making another statement on the road to the iRacing Indianapolis 500. A former race winner, Espartee, 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go, gap is 6.9 seconds, so this seems rather comfortable, touch wood, for Austin Espartee, as long as these bits of lap traffic behave here, as he's actually going to dive down towards the inside of Henry Bennett here. That's interesting right there. He's putting his car into a risky situation that he doesn't perhaps need to be in with that margin over Quinn.
Yeah, but it's the final lap here at ISM Raceway, and Espartee will go down to the inside, in towards turn number 3 and 4. We know Espartee is a fighter. He always has been. But as he comes out the final corner, he will win here at ISM Raceway. Austin Espartee, number 3 machine, gets himself another notch on the road to the iRacing Indianapolis 500. The fireworks will go off here at ISM Raceway, and it has been a fantastic race here, Connery. Only 2 cautions on a race that we expected closer to 10.
Yeah, exactly. These guys, 2 weeks in a row, have kept it very, very clean out there on the racing circuit. And Michele Constantini, in fact, P number 3 from P number 13 on the grid. That is a brilliant gain of 10 positions for him. And as I said, once again, very clean running in this broadcasted race. Yeah, it's been a fantastic run there. By the way, is Austin Espartee. He has got himself the race victory. And here are your final race results from what's been a great race here at Phoenix. It's Austin Espartee then who wins by 6.2 seconds over Liam Quinn. Michele Constantini in 3rd place. Vic Cordell, who started with the race lead, finishes in 4th place. Henry Bennett in 5th. Gorg Newjocks in 6th. Matteo Ugolotti in 7th. John Downing, Christian Steele, and Zach Campbell round out your top 10. Rest of the results up on your screen, and I think there's 3 storylines I want to talk about here, Connery. Number 1, Vic Cordell from pole position down to P number 4. Number 2, Michele Constantini using that pit strategy. And P number 3, still tried, but he couldn't break much higher than P9. Yeah, exactly, and that's just one of the things starting at the back of the field, at ISM Raceway. It's just not really going to happen for you unless you are the likes of Tim Holgate that can get yourself from the back on the final caution, or rather, at least until he didn't have his engine issues there. At the end of the event, 54 laps before the end. But you also got the issue of Tim Doyle and the incident with Viren Wilson as well. That was a huge thing that really, really shook up this entire field and resulted basically in a couple of drivers on the podium that we didn't expect to be there.
Yeah, the two Tims didn't have it good there. Well, no, the two Tims didn't have it good at all today, really. I mean, Holgate was charging for the field. Tim Doyle was in a land of nothingness when he was running, and then, of course, had himself his issues and he's out. We're going to step aside. We'll be back with interviews after this. 2 cautions at Phoenix? You're kidding me, bro. Well, we did it. Once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMeritt at the line. The classic IndyCar series returns for round number 2 this weekend at Sebring. Start time of 6 p.m. GMT here live on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. We've also got iRacing Dirt Night tonight. New time of 11:15 p.m. GMT. We've got the Midgets at Knoxville, Global Rallycross at Daytona, and the USAC 360s at Lanier Raceway Park. Then tomorrow, we've got ourselves V8 Super Truck Series, round number 3 at Phillip Island, and then the Major Series, Sports Car Showdown at Circuit of the Americas. And as ever, round up your week's worth of racing with the Club UK and Ireland Monday Night Skippies, presented by the Karma Zone, here from 8 p.m. GMT, only live on RaceSpotTV. We are back. Time for post-race interviews. It seems as though, Connery, Austin wants to type his interview rather than say it to us.
It definitely seems so, but the thing is, he is the race winner this evening, so maybe he can just do what he wants. But Austin, fantastic race win. It's at the start of this event, that really wasn't expected, given the pace of the likes of Holgate and at least Cordell, at least in the first stint. But the turning point of your race was about 83 laps from the end, when that caution came out during the pit stop cycle, where Tim Doyle got himself collected in an instant at the back of the field.
Yeah, that was. I was gonna pit that lap too, and then I saw I saw the smoke, and I almost got caught up in myself. But I was kind of thankful that I came out when it did. So I felt like if it stayed green, I would have came out on the loser on that end. Our car was okay in the long run, but I know on the fresh tires, they would have been picking up 3 to 4 tenths a lap on me. But it was kind of thankful at the time it did come out to kind of help me propel myself into the lead because I knew I had a good clean air car.
Yeah, as well as taking Tim Doyle out of the race in that caution. Of course, you didn't do that. Of course, there was the traffic ahead that did that. But that also resulted in the likes of Holgate and Cordell being put right to the back of the field. You started in the front position on the restart. Was that the point where you thought this race win is definitely very, very possible right now?
Yeah, I knew after Tuesday night in the elite race that Tim had a very strong car, and any chance to keep him behind me for me to pull a gap would help me. I saw him catching me in the that stint, so I got a little worried, but he pulled into the pits, and I was gonna pull into the pits thinking it was a early strategy move, but turns out his engine blew, which sucks, because I would wanted to finish out the race with him.
Yeah, man, we heard from a wonderful contributor to our YouTube chat that you can actually overheat and blow the engines in these IR18s now, which we previously would struggle to do in the DW12. So is that also a thing you're starting to be concerned about right now, just running too much in the dirty air, not allowing air to get into those intakes?
We kind of found that out at week 1 in New Hampshire. We tested the race in 70%, and some people were able to make it by feathering it, but a lot of the people blew up. So we knew the next one down, which I think is like 54 or 58, was the one to go. Our temps were high today, but we were able to manage them a little bit and was able to keep it from blowing up.
Yeah, and Tim Doyle was the only one that fell victim to that overheating issue. So maybe we'll see that more in the coming weeks right now, as the next race will be at the Sebring International Raceway down in Florida. And is that a track that plays to your strength in terms of the road courses on the surface?
I absolutely fell in love with this car on the road courses, and I've been testing Sebring a bunch because ABIL is running it in the same week, so we have a solid setup for that coming up, and I'm feeling pretty confident.
Yeah, confident. And is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go, Austin?
Everyone on Absolute Power Slide, and also Team Talent. It was a 1-2 Team Talent today with Liam Quinn.
Well, there we go. Very, very short and sweet thanks at the end of an interview section there, Will. But Austin SPT race win from P number 5. Can't argue with that.
You can't at all. He didn't get the race win here today, but we have got the dulcet tones of Michele Constantini, who came home in P number 3. And Michele, take us through your motor race here today.
Yeah, I kind of tried to take it easy at the start. I didn't qualify well. Actually, I botched my second lap, and yeah, so I was just trying to stay clean and keep the nose clean in the first stint, and yeah, I kind of got stuck behind John a bit, so I was just not trying to stay clean, as I said. Then we got a bit lucky with the yellow. We were trying to stretch the stint out, so we got lucky with the yellow, and we gained a ton of track position with that, and then we pitted. And yeah, from there it's basically just keeping track position and just managing. I have to say I didn't have a good setup, didn't have a top 3 car at all. Just situation got lucky. I just got lucky there, but I was able to keep the track position anyway, despite the car being a little bit slower than my opponents.
How tough was it? Because we saw at the very start of the race, cold tyres, a lot of people getting loose. How hard was it on cold tyres here today?
Oh, yeah, it was very hard. Myself, I even spun in the turn 1. I was in the middle of it. I didn't hit anything, luckily, but I spun myself, and I got like close to like 3 cars and the wall and hitting the brakes and everything. I was very thankful I didn't hit anything, and yeah, it was very tough on cold tires. Even on the restarts, I was going way down on the weight jackers for the first couple of laps, and then just going back to normal. But yeah, it was tougher with the cold tires.
Yeah, I know your teammate Gorgon Udrox had an issue coming out pit road, similar situation, cold tyres. But next time out, we go to Sebring, Very different racetrack to what we've had so far in the iRacing Verizon IndyCar series. It's bumpy, but it's fast, and of course you got Sunset Bend. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, absolutely. I will try to do the whole season, all the broadcasted race for this season. So yeah, I will absolutely be there. I will try to. I still need to start working a bit on the setup and on the driving there, because we also have Sebring, the modified version, the classic IndyCar series on this Sunday. So I will be there as well. So I just kind of try to get the Verizon IndyCar series work done after the classic IndyCar series, so that I don't have to drive basically the same track with 2 different cars, which is not ideal.
Well, who gets it done for you for that Vortex Sim Racing team?
Yeah, I want to thank the team, obviously, Georg, AJ for the spotting once again, great calls. And other than that, I would like to thank our sponsors, Logical and JRT, and I would like to thank you guys for the broadcast, as always.
Always back. Thank you very much, Michele Constantini. Well, that's it, Connery. Next time, it is going to be Sebring, a road course which is harder than it looks on paper.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also the track with 2 track surfaces. It's also the track with very, very many bumps to be concerned about as well. So that race is certainly going to be a very intriguing one. And maybe we'll also see another different winner in this series for the season.
Yeah, thank you so much to our partners here on RaceSpotTV, to Andy Warner and And One Design, to Simon Grossman at Engineer.im, and Nick Thisson for RaceSpotTV, live timing and scoring. We hope you have a great weekend here on RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, Classic IndyCar Series on Sunday for those of you looking for more IndyCar fixes. And of course, tomorrow night you can catch the second round of the 2018 Verizon IndyCar Series on NBC Sports Network in America, BT Sport in the United Kingdom, ESPN Player around the world. It's going to be a fun run to the 2018 Indianapolis 500. That guy is Conor Ramatic. I am Will Vincent, and we will talk to you all next time. Good night from ISM Raceway.